Hello, welcome to Power Talk, where we are here for a meal with Gautam Singhania, Chairman and Managing Director of Raymond. One of the people who's really pioneering a large number of innovations in business, but that's not what I want to talk to you about. I mean, partly what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about racing because you won the Ferrari Challenge 2015. And that continues to be something which you're making a lot of waves in. So, Gautam, thanks for joining us. Do start off with your tea. I'm going to be discussing actually both with you. I'll discuss business with you. I'll discuss racing with you. I'll discuss anything else that you want to talk about. So it's fantastic having you here with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So should we start with the Ferrari Challenge, actually? Because I'm really interested about that. You're the first Indian ever to have done it. Second, you finished second in your very first season.
Yes.
How did you manage
It was
that?
an amazing year. I think to finish second in the Ferrari Challenge in their first year, we got 10 podiums. It was an amazing feeling. And I really did it for myself, to prove to myself that I'm quick enough. You know, we all grew up racing in India, and we said, how globally competitive are we? So it was a fantastic event, and barring the small incident I had in the World Finals, I probably would have won that because I was on pole on that event, and I could have won that event. So it was amazing, but it was a dream run.
You came second a large number of times individually, and you won one of them as well.
Yes, so I won in Mugello in the World Final weekend in one of the races, which was 40 car grid. And, you know, this race is extremely competitive, so you're fighting for 0.1 second. And I won that race by 234,000th of a second. So, you know, in 40 minutes to win by 234,000th of a second is as close as it gets.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this event. Like, what is it? Is it...
So it's about people who always...
breakfast is here, so let's move this a little bit. Yeah.
I think it's about people who always wanted to race, don't want to go into professional racing, but want to race a Ferrari. Ferrari is a dream, it's championship, and you can race a Ferrari. And honestly, I mean, if you've driven a Ferrari road car, which is incredible, when you actually drive a race car, it's another level. It's amazing what a car they make. And to race that car at the limit is an incredible feeling.
So this is as close as it gets to Formula One, right?
Well, Formula One is different. It's completely different. I had a shot at it when I was 18, but I didn't do it. I had the option to do it because I opted for coming to the family business. And F1 is a completely different ballgame. But it is racing, and it theoretically is the same, but it's a different cup of tea.
When did this passion for speed or the need for speed first hit you? How old were you? I mean, adventures in the family, I guess. I remember your dad got into the Guinness Book of World Records in 2005, was it? With the hot air balloon.
It was in 1998 in the micro light.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think 2005 for the
hot air balloon as well. So yeah, adventure runs in the family. So, but when did the need for speed bite you?
Well, I think I got my first, I've said this before, I got my first go-kart when I was 4 years old. So, rickety little thing, and it refused to slide because it had no power. So I remember we had a marble driveway, you know, old marble driveway, and I used to put water on it so it would slide.
Right, and that's right. Come, why don't you start? I'll come back to racing and the other stuff a little later, but let's just talk about business for a while. And how's it doing?
Well, I think India is going through some challenges. Short-term pain for long-term gain. I think long-term, I always believed in India, so which is why we're making investments in India. And I don't see a real issue there.
Short-term pain for long-term gain, I guess you're partly talking, of course, about cash, which must be hitting part of your business. Is it actually biting or is it not biting right now, that people just don't have the cash to go in and pay?
Well, there's a short supply of cash, and I think it'll take time for this cash to come into the system. In India, people like to spend cash. It's part of the psyche of the Indian people. And the cash will come. It's not today, but fundamentally, there is demand. Fundamentally, people need goods and services. And I don't see an issue with that.
One is, of course, what will happen with demonetization, and that we'll have to see where the full impact comes in. Also, the other set of government policies that need to be followed, the sort of reforms that are going to be required for that. We've been seeing some of them. Are there more that you would like to see?
I think let's wait for the budget, which is maybe 20 days around the corner. So let's wait. I'm sure the government knows what it's doing. I'm sure Mr. Modi has a game plan.
Yeah.
And, it's good to have a strong leader like him. And we just wait and hope for the best.
So in general, if you talk to people in the rest of industry, they've been saying the same things for a long period of time. We need better infrastructure. Of course, that's happening. There are certain set of businesses which are more to do with digital, which is fine. In textiles, in clothing, what are the sort of bottlenecks that you think India still experiences? Is it labor laws or is it something else?
So I think labor is an important part of this. Our labor costs are very high. Power costs are very high. So these are the fundamental issues. If you take other countries, labor costs are significantly lower. Can we get some better benefits in trade in terms of duty-free access to Europe or America, which other countries have? I think these are issues we need to deal with.
Labor costs being high, what would be the reason for that? Is that wages are too high, or is it that there's too much grit in the sand of the business, which is why the labor laws come up? It's tougher to hire people because you can't fire them.
We don't have a hire and fire policy.
And you think that would help?
Of course it will, because the minute you have a hire fire policy, the day you know you can lose your job, you'll perform better. If I can't sack you, indiscipline creeps in, inefficiency creeps in, and that's all not good for the country.
This entire question of even if India is growing at 7%, and fine that India is growing at 7%, the fastest growing economy in the world, which is great. But there are people who are worrying about jobless growth. And I think people like you can help in advising as to why is it that we are having jobless growth. And the questions I was asking you are partly linked to that, because one of the reasons you hear from industrialists is we're having jobless growth because of the labor laws. We are reluctant to hire people, because if you hire 1,000 extra people at a good time, you need to lay them off in a bad time. You can't do that under Indian labor laws.
So you're seeing this change. I don't think people are getting hired less. I mean, they might not get employed in a factory, but they're getting employed in the services sector. Whether it's retail, whether it's aviation, whether it's hospitality. So these sectors are growing. I mean, if you take aviation today, the guy, say I had a factory worker, his son is probably working in the aviation sector. So it's not that he's not getting a job or that we're not employing people. If I had to employ people, I'd probably do it through a vendor, because there's more efficiency in that than doing it myself.
But if you were to take a look at clothing in general, let's just go back in history. Look at the early 18th century. Look at 1730, 1740, before the British came out here. India controlled, 60% of the global supply of clothing, maybe 70%. We had something like 60 to 70% of the export of manufactured goods, and maybe 80% of the export of clothing was all done out of India. Today, not quite the same.
Yeah, well, the world has changed. So I think we still have an opportunity. People talk about China. I don't believe in China. I can openly say I don't believe in China.
Why?
I just don't believe in it, because I think there's too much covered there which you don't really see. I mean, if you go to a Chinese factory, I don't know if you've been to a Chinese factory, but a worker is not allowed to pick up his head to see who's walking past him. Now, someday there's going to be a revolt. Somewhere it's going to pinch. Number two, I asked myself, I said, if China is really so good, why are my exports going up? I asked my people, why are your exports going up? That means somebody sees there's a huge benefit in buying from India over China. And we got to capitalize on this.
But just to play the devil's advocate of that, if you look at the overall size, and again, as I'm saying, 250, 300 years ago, we were comparable. If we were, in fact, ahead of China. None of us were around. But even 30, 40 years ago, we were ahead of China. Today, and maybe you have the correct statistics on this, but anecdotally, what I picked up is, China has about 45% of the global market of manufactured exports in clothing. India is 4%, so we are a tenth of that.
But why are people still buying from India? That's my question.
But it's a big discrepancy, isn't it?
That'll
45%
change.
to 4%.
It will change. because there's value coming out of India.
Right.
There's volume coming out of China. So if you want to buy junk, you buy it from China. If you want to buy something of even remote quality, you buy it from India.
How big do you think India can be in the clothing and in the textile sector globally?
There's a huge opportunity. Why would customers abroad want to choose India over China? They're obviously seeing something that we are not able to see.
So let me just put you a direct question, that this entire question and this perception that people have that yes, India is going to rise. Nobody can stop the rise of India. India will continue to grow at 6%, 7%. But India is really going to dominate in services, not just software, but other things, services and all of that. There's a rival view saying India could become a massive manufacturing hub, which from a job point of view is also great. Which of the two views do you subscribe to?
I think there'll be coexistence. I mean, if you look at everybody here in this room who's supporting you doing this interview, they're in the services sector.
Yeah.
They're not in the manufacturing sector. But manufacturing is important. So there'll be coexistence of both.
But do you see a day coming where India can become a major manufacturing hub?
Any country that has a large domestic consumption can become a manufacturing hub. If you see the US, it fundamentally became a manufacturing hub because it had a very large domestic consumption.